So, hello, fellow fighters for this world, and welcome to HogCast, a Hogs of War podcast. This is the second episode, and I have another guest with me. The topic today is speedrunning, but before we start, I have a quick advertisement. So, as you might notice, the Trotsville GP is happening next week. When you watch this on Sunday, it's on the 3rd of March. It should be for Thursday, and it's happening live on the Hogs of War League channel. It's a speedrun race where we race against each other live and try to complete Trotsville as fast as possible. And speaking about the GP and said the topic was speedrunning, I have the current top Hogs of War speedrunner with me, Candyman.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
So I'm the Candyman. You may have seen me speedrunning and or just breaking the game.
Yeah, you're definitely well known for that. Not as well known as HogCast yet, but I think you're getting closer.
Yeah, it's a rivalry.
Yeah, especially with the 200 HP shrapnel grenade you pulled off out of an artillery.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a great moment. But let's jump right into it. So, when did you first start playing Hogs?
So I remember the very first day of playing Hogs. My dad brought the game. I had no idea what it was. He sat us down and he made me play with my brother. The first thing we did was load up a multiplayer game, which was a bad mistake, by the way. And we just tried to play a game. I remember immediately walking onto a mine in one of the duvet levels, or I can't remember. I'm guessing it was whatever one is first in that list. And not really understanding what was happening. Yes, probably playpen. I probably fired a bazooka at my feet a few times. It turns out playing the tutorial really helps in this game.
Yeah, I can imagine, especially when you're a kid and it doesn't explain anything to you at the beginning.
No. But other than that shaky start, I got into the game at quite a young age. I'm guessing I was around 10-ish. I'm not exactly sure. Struggled throughout the missions, to be honest, the first few times. It's a very hard game when you're that young.
That's true. I also remember that I struggled when I first played through it. So I think I never really actually got unlocked hard mode until I was like in my teen years, or even 18 or so. I don't know. As a kid, I never was able to unlock hard mode.
Yeah, the first few times, I think I seem to still remember having some low ranks whilst struggling to even get to mission 23. This took forever to even get that far.
Yeah, because also the permadeath can really get you as a kid.
Yes. It's one of the things which is a very unusual design, in that I know obviously the better you are at a game, the easier it is. But in this way, it's kind of recursive in the opposite direction. The worse you are at it, the harder it becomes. And then as you're missing out on medals, it becomes even harder. So
yeah, that's so true. But two things I wanted to mention with what you said before. The first is just on one side, you don't get an explanation. You don't really have a tutorial, which can be bad for new, fresh players. But on the other hand, it just was with games back then. It's like nowadays, each game you boot up has a long tutorial that like everybody can play it, and back then it was just start the game. And that's also good for speedrunning, because just imagine bootcamp would be mandatory if you speedrun the game. That would be kind of tedious after a while.
Yeah, what you guys have done with boot camp is insane. I've tried those strats in that category. It's just something else.
Yeah, we can talk about boot camp later as well. but that could be another topic then. But the second thing I wanted to mention is it's interesting that your dad bought the game for you, because I talked with Pin last time and it was the same for him, that our dads played the games for themselves. Pin said his dad was terrible and like only played it once and never touched it again. But my dad was quite decent and played it quite often. So it was interesting that your dad bought that for you and your brother and not for himself.
Yeah. And I would say my dad was quite good at the game as well. It's the only reason we kind of collectively got to mission 23 together. We'd probably pass the controller around on missions that me and my brother couldn't do, and he would probably go and figure out. So, the first few times, I think we needed him.
Yeah, but I think you mentioned something interesting here that definitely will be a talking point later, that he figured out how to play the mission, and I think that's what really made the replayability for me as a kid, that you have so many options from classes and how to approach different missions. So that's what kind of makes this game interesting to speedrun as well. Now we broke it down really, but at the beginning you had so many different approaches how to play a mission, so many different strats that could work.
Yeah, there are plenty of games back in the day from that PlayStation 1 era that once they were completed, they just sat on the shelf forever because you'd done everything. This game just felt fresh every time you picked it up.
That's also a bit of a slight problem for Hogs and speedrunning, because it can be different every time, and that's not what you want in speedrunning, especially with the RNG and especially the snipers. The movement of them is just terrible.
Yeah. Other speedrunners, or the most popular speedruns, are of very consistent games. In this, we lose seconds, like tens and tens of seconds, just because the AI decides it wants to walk about.
Yeah. But let's go back to the older Hogs of War days. When did you start speedrunning the game?
So initially, it was just about a year ago. I sat down and wanted to give myself a new challenge, and I kind of liked the idea, as I just discovered speedrunning in Hogs was a thing after many years of seeing empty leaderboards, and I thought I had some really good ideas to try and beat the current record at the time. So I sat down, I did a few strats for just Hog's Head in general, but by the end of that day I actually felt really tired. It took a lot out of me for somebody that was just new to speedrunning. So I kind of almost gave up at the end of just one day. And then... And then just like I think within a day or two of me giving up, the first Grand Prix was announced.
Oh, that's really a coincidence, but that's another thing I think that can really get somebody into speedrunning, is a bit of competition, a bit of like that you're not running it alone. It was the same when I started back in the day. I remember it was summer, I had not really much to do, and I thought I could play Hogs of War again. And then I thought I could speedrun this game. I looked at the leaderboards, and there were like 3 runners that posted the time within the last 2-3 weeks. So I thought that it can be, but it can't be. There can't be 3 other people who decided in the last 2-3 weeks to start speedrunning Hogs. And so I got into the whole community, and I think it was the 13th to join the Discord. It was just a speedrunning Hogs of War Discord back in the day. And yeah, we really it started from there, and the reason I stopped speedrunning them for a while, because there was no competition remaining. There was no one who I was on top of the leaderboard, and there was nobody else who did runs, and for me I didn't really have a goal. I didn't want to just push myself to speedrun. I kind of did sometimes, but just occasionally. But I really needed somebody else to show up, and yeah. First it was ADB, and then it was you.
Yes. Yeah, so when I first looked at speedrunning, it must have just been a couple of days before ADB posted his first full game run. And
Yeah.
it turns out he had a lot of the same ideas that I was thinking of. um, but I'm glad the Hogs Head Grand Prix came around because it gave me some target to shoot for, which wasn't a full game run.
Yeah, it definitely helps beginners to run the game, I guess. And you said you saw the Hogs Head GP being announced. So, did you have you been in touch with the Hogs of War community before, or did you just follow Pinstripe's videos and yeah, get and just got into Hogs of War community via that way to the?
Yeah, so just I think November, just before the Hogs Head Grand Prix was announced in the 1st of January, I think. So we're just talking a month and a half beforehand. I hadn't really considered Hogs for many, many years. I always followed the category on Twitch TV. I tuned into a few casual streams, but there wasn't much that I could enjoy from those guys. I mean, it's great that people still stream this game to their fan bases, but from a casual point, it just wasn't that interesting. And then in November, I saw, well, it was you streaming a challenge, which was, I think it was single grunt mode. It may be hard.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I remember doing something like this. I can't remember that I streamed it, but it could be, yeah, single grunt hard mode challenge. I definitely did that.
Yeah, that just, the title, I just had to, I was just curious as to what even was going to be happening. And I just sat there and watched in amazement. It was great to see somebody take the game and just introduce new rules for a new challenge.
Yeah, I think that's the same as Pin always says. There's a lot of Hogs of War content. Even today there's different Hogs of War content, but most of them is just let's play mission. I don't know, play of all the missions, but Pin did really the same with a unique content, and you can just tell his Hogs videos are just a whole different level than anybody else's. And I guess there was also other guys who did challenges about it, but Herb that was really doing it more to his own audience and not really streaming. So yeah, it's glad I reached someone. That's
Yeah, but because of that and the way that all of the internet works is then YouTube started suggesting lots of Pinstripe and your videos to me, and I just watched for a couple of months and just got really excited about trying to get back into Hogs again for the first time in at least 5 years, probably even more. I can't really remember the last time I played it before. It just really excited me because I think, I don't want to speak for everyone, but I feel like at some point with every player in Hogs has probably introduced arbitrary challenges, even if it's just the basic one of not allowing yourself to lose a pig and getting 100% of the medals that you can collect. It's not within the game rules. It doesn't tell you failed if you don't do that, but I think we all probably introduced some sort of challenges for ourselves.
Yeah, definitely. And when you started Hogs of War speedrunning, how did you first approach that? You said before you tried to find new strategies for Hogshead, but you kind of struggled. But you got back with the Hogshead GP. So how did you approach it from there on?
Yeah, so I had only for practicing for the any percent category. I just stuck to the first 5 missions anyway, and after one day I thought there's at least 20 more missions beyond this. and it must just get harder. So I that's why I gave up. But then when this Grand Prix was announced, it was the 5 levels that I had some amount of practice in. So I was keen. I hadn't learnt too many new strats. I just followed the strats at the time. But the only strat I think I had at the time was just being slightly more consistent at mission 2. And I just had a strat for placing the first mine. I wanted to try and get a strat out there to say, I hope I've found something that helps everyone. And if I don't post a time in the Grand Prix, that's fine. I just kind of wanted to have some small input. I never thought I'd actually speedrun Hog's Head.
Well, but you definitely did, and as we know today, you also won the whole GP, and yeah, I think
I might. It might become too addictive to try after I start to speedrun. Frustrating and addictive at the same time somehow.
It's, how do you say? It's the demons you summon. You have to fight them or so. Is it something you? So like we created. We wanted to get new people into speedrunning, and then we created the best Hogs of War Speedrunner yet, and now we have to live with it that all our records are gone.
That wasn't my intentions. I never thought I'd become this good at speedrunning, but somehow I've just had. The thing is, I'm not particularly great, I don't think. I've just had a lot more spare time than everyone else.
Well, but you also found a lot of new strategies, and your biggest strength, I guess, is the consistency. So for me, it was like more, I'll just place it there, and hope to get the best out of it. But you really broke it down to consistent spots where to place something. So and really took your time to place the mines in TNT, whereas I know me, I'm just placing them and hope. So I guess that is what really put you above the rest.
I remember at the time though thinking like, I'm spending way too long placing all these things. I wish I was more like you guys where you can just put them down. But that might be just the thing of the bias of just seeing like completed runs. In that if you're a viewer of our speedruns, you probably haven't seen all of the number of times I've failed to place these things down.
But let's say if there's a person maybe listening or joining the Discord and wants to start speedrunning Hogs of War, what tips? What would you say to him? What would you say are good points to start?
In a way, a while ago I would have said Hog's Head was a great way to start speedrunning, but I wouldn't take what is currently the records too seriously. There are many other options for new players, and unfortunately, I really hope people don't that want to get into speedrunning don't see the way that we're doing Mission 1 now and think that they have to do that way to start off, because I wouldn't have been able to do that if this time last year when I first started. I would have just got really frustrated and just given up. So I'd say try to find safe strats for these missions. One thing I want to do is make a tutorial showing the best ways to do things that we know right now, and some more consistent, easy ways to do things.
Yeah, I guess that's good that we could do that because I guess you've done something similar already to the Twotsville missions for the GP, but especially for Hog's Head, we haven't really. The tutorials are a bit outdated. They exist on that, and I think especially in the first 2-3 missions there are safer strats than we use right now. Especially in Mission 1, there's a pretty safe one, I would say. In Mission 3, there's a much safer one that costs you more time, but you can pretty much always get a you can just always get a 4-turn Mission 3 and without having to fear that the grunts moving too much. So yeah, I guess in Hogs you could break it down for easier strats to start.
Yeah, and yeah, if you're starting out, I wouldn't worry too much about other people's times. It's nice to compare against something, but just first set your own benchmarks. Just beat your own times, and eventually, because it takes a while to even get used to this game, then yeah, you'll be challenging other people at some point.
Yeah, as we saw now, I think Raven recently started to speedrun HogCast, and he got like sub 30 for the first time, which is not bad at all for beginners speedrunning. I remember when we were speedrunning Hogs of War for a while, the any percent that a sub 20 was considered, a sub 20 HogCast was considered like really, really good, and now a sub 20 HogCast is like if you want to have, I mean, it's if you play for a while, but if you want to go for the best times, the sub 20 HogCast is like, you have to get a sub 20. I mean, if you're above 18, that's pretty much a reset in HogCast alone.
Yeah, it would be for me. But for anyone else just starting out, just
of course,
get a run together. It's completely fine.
Yeah, I remember my first run, I think, was 4.5 hours. My first completed one.
Yeah, so I'm not too knowledgeable about the old runs. I've tried to watch as much as I can from viewing some of the obsolete material in speedrun.com.
Yeah, unfortunately, it took a lot of them down. That's I regret that a lot now, but I just did it back in the day, and yeah.
Did I hear somewhere somebody mentioned some of the first runs, which might not even be submitted, were even as long as 8 hours? Or maybe I misheard something.
It could be that, but that definitely was never submitted. But yeah, wait, I will search something. I sent a Pinstripe something a while ago. I have to see if I can find it. I'm just thinking about it now. Because I said he asked me about the history of the speedrunning, and I sent him a picture I found on the internet that was like from 10 years ago or so, where somebody said of the first speedrunning result was I'll have to see if I can find it, but in the meantime you could answer me a question that would interest me a lot as well. It's when you started speedrunning, did you doing the process of starting speedrunning, or even when finding new strats or when watching other videos, were there some things of the game you didn't know? Like, I never knew wall climbs existed before you starting speedrun. So were there something similar to you?
Yes, I saw back in this November time, I think I saw some wall climbing. I was just amazed at that was even possible, and I immediately tried to do it without really paying enough attention as to how you were doing it, and I just slipped a lot. I didn't really. I needed to pay a lot more attention as to which locations you were doing it. I just thought it would be any edge of the map. So yeah, I found that was an interesting thing that I never knew. And just even something basic like using shrapnels against vehicles and artillery's pillboxes and stuff. I feel like it must have been in the design of the game to use them against those, but the game never tells you. So I just always thought of this as a weird weapon that you throw in. Sometimes you get extra damage on some surrounding pigs, or you accidentally hit yourself with it, and it's kind of like a clunky weapon. But it seems so obvious now that it's it should be designed, I think, for this purpose of opening up the vehicles in the game.
Yeah, that is true, and I also found a lot of people not knowing about this, which is kind of amazing. And I think I just found out by accident as a kid that I just attacked it, because as far as I remember, it was like I didn't had I needed to destroy a pillbox in the mission or so, and I forgot that or not I forgot, it was a sapper's turn, or not a sapper, engineer or saboteur's turn, and I just thought I will throw the weapon on it, and then I or the shrapnel on it, and then I just realized what can happen, and it was really, wow. It was amazing. I was also amazed as a kid that could be a thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I think it must have happened only a handful of times back in the day, and I probably just never. I just thought maybe something weird happened. I got lucky. I didn't really realize it was intended for that. Yeah. I'm trying to think of.
Was there not? I think you mentioned hogs, head jumping at one time.
Oh yeah, I need to get better at that. The amount of times where it becomes relevant in a speedrun, you leave a hog on 1 health a lot more often than you'd like to. And it should just be a case of spending an extra couple of seconds, but for me, I jump and I jump and I jump. And really I should learn how to do that. Really. But no, I think I always knew that was a thing back in the day. Okay. I think it'd be interesting, when you played this as a child, did you know about the easiest way to complete mission 25?
No, I didn't know that.
Ah, that's really interesting. I remember discovering the bug of half health by accident one day.
Yeah, that happened to me as well. But it was the other way around with double health, just double health thing. Because I don't know even why half health is the thing, because the pigs are so low health in multiplayer. That's really, yeah.
But the old way I used to do mission 25 was to immediately hide by the pillbox.
Okay.
Wait for Izzy to jump out, and this is all in half health, by the way, and then either snipe or do 40 damage, probably a cluster or something. It turns out you don't need the half health to do this, but that's the way I did it back in the day. And I feel like that was one of the keys to the replayability for me, in that, because I always feared that mission at the end, because I didn't like it at all. The only way I knew how to beat it otherwise was to poison the legends and then hide forever, and it just felt like it took forever, and I always feared getting to that level.
Yeah. I can't seem to find, unfortunately, the one I showed pin. I will see if I can find it till next time, and maybe get it till then or so. Write it in the Hogs Discord when I find it. But yeah, I remember I found a website on the internet where the first Hogs of War speedrun was documented, or the first documented speedrun on the internet. But it's fine. It's fine. But going back to strats, so how you're well known for finding new strats, or thinking out of the box, just getting new aspects in missions. How do you approach that you find so many new things?
Quite a lot of it is just by accident, to be honest. There's only a few moments where I feel like I've actively thought about solving certain missions in certain ways. Quite a lot of the times it's just playing out missions even though you should reset because you're not going to beat any time. I tend not to reset just to see what happens. And then something happens which is amazing, and then I see if it's reproducible. I think one of the classic cases for that is in Mission 13, which is Glacier Guns,
Yeah.
is the trick with throwing a shrapnel up at one of the pillboxes. I thought I'd messed up a previous turn where I hadn't quite destroyed this pillbox. I threw a shrapnel up, and just by chance, I got 2 pillboxes in one go. I thought, this is great. So I've turned something of which I was worried about failing into something which was consistent.
That's a great story. And I guess it's always good if you get a. I remember that I noticed that myself. When I first joined, I tried finding a lot of new strategies. But if you found your strategy that works, it's really hard to change that again, or to think about a new one, because you always have the old one kind of in your head, and you can't really think freely. And I noticed when I get to another category, or like also with the Grunt Squad challenges, that I completely think or completely change my approach to a mission because of the completely new challenge. And I guess if somebody new is joining and doesn't have the old strats really implemented yet in their runs, it's kind of advantage for them to find new strats, because they think of different things the old runners wouldn't even thought of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'd say it's much harder to start from a blank canvas and be one of the original speedruns of this game, starting from scratch and just iterating over each other's ideas. You think you have the best plan, and then somebody else comes along and uses the best stuff that they see of yours, and then just introduces ever so slightly different changes, and then eventually you just lead to more and more discovery of different ideas.
Yeah.
I think maybe the only strat of which I think the one I'm most proud of is the first one I found in Mission 5, which the only reason I got this idea was from seeing another runner at the time, I think Esserone, I'm not sure exactly how to pronounce it.
Oh, the Swedish, I know, the Swedish guy.
Yes. I saw a strat which I'd completely forgotten about, which was hiding under a bridge in order to bait the AI into placing a TNT on you.
Yeah.
It's something that I remember happened ages ago, back in the day, on certain multiplayer missions with the bridges, with all the islands, I think, and you can hide under the metal bridges.
Could be island
I just took that idea and only changed the weapon I used and who I targeted. So really, it's his idea. It's not my strat. It's her own strat.
Yeah, I guess it's always great to just go over each other's to just find strats together, and everyone is adding a bit new stuff, and at the end you get like one of the, maybe Mission 5 is really one of the crazier ones, but also which I'm most proud of, or the most recent one addition that I added, I think, was that you use the tank after you place the TNT in Mission 12. So I think that you changed the TNT placement and everything, but I think using the tank, it's such an easy thing to do, and it gives you bonus damage and everything, but it took us really long to implement that.
Yeah, it seems so obvious once you figured it out. It's like, why didn't anyone else think of this? But yeah, it's a great strat. I think another one that you took an idea from somebody else, in that you saw that you could place a mine underneath a pillbox or something, and just stand next to it. to make sure it goes off.
I think it was ADB who did it first, or was it you who did it first?
I think I did it in Mission 7,
Yeah.
and then I think you did it in Mission 13
But
with the anti-peat.
Yeah, but definitely someone did that before me, and I got inspired. But yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wasn't trying to use it.
But it's great. The more people that just play the game and record the game, the more ideas are just out there.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think it's definitely a great thing that every Grand Prix so far has introduced new strats. It just accelerates new ways of thinking.
Yeah, we definitely pushed the limits of the GPs even further down.
It's quite possible that we'd be playing out these levels the same way, just hoping for certain outcomes. But yeah, the more we explore, the more we try, the more consistent the game is becoming, I think.
I wanted to ask you, what are your future speedrun plans?
I still have time to gain in all of my full game runs. In the immediate future, I'm most keen on getting back to hard mode. I've just recently, just a few days ago, had another run for the first time in, I guess, 9 months or something. But I messed up on a few missions, and I'm just embarrassed that there's those few missions, so I definitely want to beat that time.
Yeah, hard mode for me is like it's so far away. The time I think it did. No, it didn't never do a hard mode one. Like, I did it 100% once, but never hard mode.
It's just annoying. It's only a few levels though, which are actually harder than the normal game. And it's just a matter of just having the enemy having just a tiny bit more health than what you ideally want. And that's just because a lot of strats involve blowing pigs into mines and relying on that half being the health being half of what they started with, and them instantly dying. It's amazing how. I guess.
Yeah, how few HP difference can make it can result in even more RNG and even more prayers for the mines.
Yeah. But I'd say hard mode is becoming quite consistent. It is still quite brutal in a few areas. But I'm actually excited again. Whereas the first few times I did it, I was actually fearing quite a lot of levels.
I guess I have to take a look into it as well, maybe help you on some strats or so. Maybe I find something that you didn't thought of yet, so let's see when I get the time to look into that.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem of being the only person that's looked at it, in that I didn't even look too in depth in some of the levels. I've just taken what worked in the normal mode and just seen if it worked in hard mode. If it did, I've just copied what I've done in the normal mode and just assumed it's good enough for hard mode.
I get that.
It could just be that there are new ideas that would just be much better.
Yeah. I guess my next plans would be to get a sub 130. Of course, first the total GP, then get a sub 130 in the any percent in the no major glitches category. I guess I can make that. Just some more consistent. And of course, like, the goal is always, if somebody even tries to steal the bootcamp record from me, I will fight back immediately.
I feel like I could be on top for a day if I tried again. And then you'd immediately take it.
I know I could maybe beat the time, but as well I was like, at the one it was half a second faster even going into the first grenades, but I messed it up. But it's just so tedious and just have to grind so much. So just want to give others a chance to get it back, and then just grind again and get the motivation for playing it 6 hours in a row to get the record back.
Yeah. It would take me a lot longer to get that anywhere near that. I think I have. I should probably just submit the time I have locally on my machine. It might be. I can't remember if it's third or fourth. The thing is, it has a very bad mistake at the very end, which costs, I think, 3 seconds or something. It's the difference between being second or first, maybe, and, well, it's either now third or fourth. I can't remember. But that category is too brutal for me. So, yeah.
Well, but it's the shortest one, and I guess it deserves to be our own category because it's like it could be a single one as well, but it's just so unique in the way it is.
Yeah. Yes.
But
it's just very interesting the way the rules work in that mode.
Yeah.
That's even possible.
Exactly. But speaking about the brutal categories for hard mode and bootcamp, but what is your favorite category to speedrun?
Well, I think any percent is now, and just normal mode is becoming so consistent that it's just really enjoyable for me. I think part of that is some of the later missions are becoming more and more consistent than the early ones. It's actually the first Hogs Head and Australia, which are maybe a bit too over the top in terms of skill level.
For me, it's just Hogs Head. It's just, I'm always glad when I get out of Hogs Head. That's the only thing that's holding me back for any percent is that I have to play Hogs Head.
Yeah.
After Hogs Head, it's so much fun, but before.
Yeah, the thing for me, which I always hate, is getting into mission 6, because that's currently a lottery for me. And the last time, in the last run I did, I got the best possible. So to beat that, I need that again, or I feel like I need that again.
Yeah.
And I got a great Hog's Head, and that's the hardest thing to do. I can't really gain any more time in Hog's Head. So next time for me is going to be brutal. But at least the end game is more consistent.
Yeah, that is true, and it is just, I like it that you have just 25 different missions, and it feels fresh every time.
Yes.
So, but what do you think of the future of Hogs of War speedruns in general? Where's the goal in most categories, or where's the limit? Let's just talk about the limit for any percent first. Where do you think the limit is there? How low can we get the time?
Right now, with the current strats, I think 124 is possible, but and that would be with grinding. I don't tend to play that. I mean, I've only done it like 4 or 5 runs in total ever. But if I was to keep playing over and over again, I'd get like a 124, I'd imagine, after a certain number of attempts. Maybe 123. But I know these times must sound insane if you used to talk about this a year ago.
Oh, yeah. When started, we even, I think the first thing we talked about the Discord when trying to, if a sub 2 is possible. Sub 2 hours, that was the first thing that, and then after 2 months of grinding, I think it was either 158 or 157 that stood on top for a long time, and I thought, I can maybe get a few minutes down, but that was before Commando Early was implemented, and Commando Early really changed the whole meta of the Hogs of War speedruns.
Well, I was watching some old, I guess 3 or 4 hour ish runs the other week, and it was interesting to find the discussion in that was the new strats were trying to get a hero early, and a hero early back then was it for mission 15, I think. And yeah, now the plan is to get a hero for mission 10.
Yeah, I was remembering playing a kid, a commander early for me was in mission 11. When I got a commander in mission 11, I was happy. But...
yeah, because as a kid, I think I always evenly promoted all my pigs all the time, I think. Nobody could be a commander until at least everyone was the highest rank.
The strangest thing for me was there's one on the Hogs of War wiki, or if you Google for Hogs of War strategies, the top answer is, or the top vessel to get is a guide that recommends you also promoting the reserves in case you get a permadeath that your reserves are at least a bit upgraded. And I always thought that is so unnecessary, and it's just I mean, I never did something with to be honest, the reserves kind of feel unnecessary for me because, well, I never do something with them anyways. Never, even as a kid, I didn't use them.
Yeah, the thing is, the only times I lost pigs to that rule, the permadeath, was probably the first two playthroughs of the entire game. In fact, I remember on mission 5 receiving the fire rain airstrike and being confused every time I played that for years after. It was like, when is the fire rain airstrike going to come down? And I never knew. I always mistook the airburst that comes down after you kill the scout, thinking maybe sometimes that's the fire rain airstrike, and I was just unlucky every single time.
The game has such strange mechanics. It's like really with the FNS, like, in case you don't know how to get that, because there was videos about it, and I thought, can it happen? It is if your first pick in your lineup dies, and then you kill the sniper, or is it the other way around?
Well,
I knew that once. I have to check that. It's
yeah, I can't remember, but I think somebody said it's if you lose 4 pigs or something.
No, it's if you lose the first pig in your lineup. It's dead. It's definitely dead.
Oh, okay.
And then I think kill the sniper. So let's see. I will. I will search that because I will. If you kill the scout first and then your first pick dies, that's the way it is. Just fantasy.
Okay.
So if you kill the scout and then your first pick dies, you get an F and airstrike. It is just so strange because something like this never happens in the entire game after.
I know, and for years I was confused. I kept trying different things to get that F-rain airstrike. Yeah. So there's some bizarre stuff going on.
Yeah, same in mission 3. If you destroy both tanks, a TNT is dropping. I don't know if you know that.
I did know that specifically for the Hogshead Grand Prix.
Oh, okay.
It was a backup of a backup strat in case things had gone terrible.
Okay, and the other things are like the medal, the extra bonus medal in mission 15 that drops after 256 turns, and the extra barrels in mission 22 that drops after 256 turns. Because after 256 turns, they're dropping the explosive barrels next to the artilleries.
Oh, right.
So I guess the thing I think they're just remaining there. They didn't want to get rid of them, so they just coded them to drop after 256 turns because nobody would take so long anyways. Same as with mission 15, I guess. Because the island currently with the duck, it's really useless. Because and we was going there when I'm playing it first because I wanted to know what is there. But the island is really useless. But the medal is dropping at the island, so I guess they initially planned to drop the medal at this island, but they scrapped it. Yeah.
The thing is with the duck, for some reason I always thought you needed to jump in it to get the medal, so I always did that back in the day.
I see. Because they don't tell you how to get the medal. That's true.
Yes. And then just mission 17.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be interesting to know how much time has been spent trying to get a medal that you just can't get on the PAL version.
And how often do you read or do you hear? I remember it was dropping once. You always hear it. And I believed that for the longest time as well. But then I realized I always just got the 100 promotion points because you get an extra one in mission 23 by standing underneath. And it took me so long. I think I was speedrunning the game for almost a year before I realized the medal isn't planned that you get when you stand under that. I think it was when I first attempted 100% that I realized, oh, that is the medal, that is the 100th medal I always got. So
yes. Yeah. Yeah, fortunately that medal is there and it somehow works.
Yeah.
Anyway, because yeah. I used to always get that one back in the day after I figured out you could collect that medal.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just some game mechanics are pretty strange. But to finish things off, because we are almost an hour again, I like that the podcasts are really going on for that long. I hope that the listeners don't mind either. But to finish things off, what are your other plans regarding Hogs? So just scrap speedrunning for a bit. So any other plans for Hogs?
I've occasionally toyed with the idea of competitive, but for me, it's just an extra level of complexity. There's so much more involved in competitive that I feel like I'd struggle quite a lot to begin with, and struggle to have the time to put into learning competitive. But that's something I could consider one day.
Yeah, we always have the Grand League, the competitive league for beginners, for new players going on. So you can always join that if you want to, or rank up even. So yeah.
One thing I find interesting that some competitive players seem to think speedrunning is harder, but I'd say competitive is much harder.
Well, it's really for competitive for speedrunning. You have to put in so much time and effort to get consistent, and I mean you could say the same about competitive, but I think it's more the nature of the game to play competitive than to speedrun it. So I guess it feels more natural for the most players to play competitive than to speedrun.
Yeah. But for the time being, there's enough in speedrunning to keep me entertained for the foreseeable future anyway.
I can definitely imagine that. And maybe some plans for a challenge or so?
I do need to continue my challenge of
the no damage?
Having all pigs, no damage, yes. I've recorded up to mission 7 so far. Oh no, I've completed mission 7, sorry. So I will continue that at some point, maybe soon.
Yeah.
But I haven't even thought that far ahead to see if it's even possible. I know you've done similar challenges. I don't know if you've done this exact challenge.
I didn't do no damage challenge. Didn't do that yet. But yeah, for the most part, the solo grunt mission, hard mode mission challenge was like no damage, or not much damage at least.
Oh yes.
But I'm currently thinking which mission could be hardest for a no damage challenge, or where you could really struggle. But I guess if you're getting most of the medals in normal mode, there shouldn't be any mission you can't get it, I guess.
That's the thing. I haven't even put any forethought into it. I'm just literally taking one level at a time. And maybe I should have planned far ahead, because I'm just going with sappers at the moment.
I guess 13 could be the hardest one. thinking about it.
Yes. Yeah, that could be brutal. I'm hoping I'm not going to have to rely on them just always missing with their pillboxes. Yes.
Yeah,
but
definitely looking forward to see that.
And the other stuff is maybe there could be races again of some of the full game categories.
Oh, true. And what I also wanted to mention at the end is the bingo. I want to do the bingo again at some point.
Yes, that was good fun. I know it's a bit... bingo tends to be heavily focused on speedrunning strategies.
Yeah.
Or speedruns can gravitate to it naturally.
I was thinking about maybe doing some island-specific tasks, so they're a bit more casual and not just speedrunning, so you don't have to jump from mission to mission, just play the island and try what you can get there. And have some things that kind of out of your way, how you naturally would speedrun it, so it's a bit more open for casual as well, but I'll have to see that. For now I'm having so much other Hogs things to do that bingo is a bit on the side. But yeah, races as well, it's I would definitely like to do an 80% race at some point in the future again. That could be really funny to set it up.
Yes, and as you're capable of a 120 again, I know Hogs is a very unusual game to speedrun, and we could go backwards and forwards, trading times, like getting really far ahead and then dropping back. And
if you can't reset, I mean, there's literally anyone could win this.
Yes,
not anyone, but anyone who is capable of having a sub 2 hour time could win. Could win a race, because they can go so much wrong.
Yeah, unlike other speedrun games, everything snowballs in this game.
Yeah.
As soon as one thing goes wrong, one thing puts you off balance for you. Every turn you've planned is based on the first thing going right, and then the next thing going right.
Maybe one last question. Do you speedrun other games as well?
Not currently. I have toyed with the idea of a few. I don't know. It's very hard to get into some games, in that I know the amount of time I'd have to invest to try and put up competitive times. So if I was to do something, it would probably just be for fun, just to get a casual time on some leaderboard somewhere else.
That is for me the same with Super Mario 64. I know I can't be a top player there because you would have to grind each day, and I'm not liking the game that much, or having or wanting even to achieve that. But for me, it's like I just like to play it. It's fun, and like getting a 16 star time is relatively good. It's not. I mean, it takes some grinding, but you learn some cool tricks pretty fast, like the bomb clip or like cannonless, and it looks pretty cool, and they're not too hard to learn, and then it's pretty fun. But I know I'm never gonna be a top runner in this game.
Yeah. And if I was to ever take a game, it would probably be Rayman, and I would not be able to get a top time either in that.
Yeah, but at least Super Mario 64 and Rayman are games with not that much RNG, so you have just to practice your movement, and if something goes wrong, you don't lose. Like there's no enemy that wastes 45 seconds. No sniper with 3 HP that walks basically a big circle and then just hides.
Yeah, it must be something else, just playing a speedrun game where if something goes wrong, it's pretty much 100% your fault.
Oh, no.
I'm not used to that. I'm used to having at least being able to blame the AI on some of my...
Yeah, that's good on some point as well. We can always blame the game.
Yes.
Well, and I think that's a good way to finish things off. We are reaching the 1 hour mark, so just want to say thanks for joining me and talking so much about speedrun and random stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been great. And I'm looking forward to the next Grand Prix race, which is coming up.
Yeah, same here. So thanks for tuning in again, and see you in 3 weeks on the next Sunday then, I guess.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.